Hey, buddy. This is a reply to Jeff Shiegel, the Slug Daddy's recent video on Kurt Angle, which I finished watching and is up here. I'll probably provide a link to it. It's right there. Now, as much as I'm a fan of Kurt Angle, and I am, I can't really defend Kurt in what's going on here. I mean, first of all, I read online that he's not going to be there because he's committed to TNA. He's based Brawl. And then what Jeff just said is it changed to he was just got married, he's spending time with his wife. Now, I don't know what to believe. So that's why I can't defend Kurt. But I can say this. Jeff does have a point. You don't go through an agent unless you're really busy, you got your hands full and all that. You don't really go through your agent, if you have one, like Kurt obviously does, and say, I can't be there because of this and that. What you do is at least you contact the museum and saying, I can't be there. More so what you should do if you're Kurt Angle or somebody in that position, knowing, as Jeff put it, as the Schleck Daddy put it, 9 months before that you're going to be going into the Hall of Fame, into their Hall of Fame, that you should at least let them know a month in advance that you've got other things planned, so they can at least acknowledge that you're not going to be there and probably give you the opportunity to do something that's rarely done with museums and stuff, or Hall of Fame presentations and all that, and that's at least give you the opportunity to go to appear via video. I mean, let's face it, if you appear through a video with, let's say, said plaque in your hand, and right then and there through that video you're able to thank everybody for what they have, for this honor and everything, to me that would at least be acceptable. But you don't, I mean, again, to me that at least would be acceptable. More acceptable than the fact of not showing up and going through an agent. And, and Jeff's right about one thing. If Kurt really wants to make up for what he's done, he needs to show up next year for next year's class. He needs to show up, apologize, go up there and say, I apologize for not being here last year, and finally explain why, whether people want to believe him or not. And if they have an Impact Pro Wrestling show there, an IPW show, get permission from Impact Wrestling and say, hey, I want to wrestle on this show to make up for what I've done. And believe me, if he does that, it will definitely make up for things for this year. Because yes, I will admit, I don't know much about Waterloo, Iowa. From what I understand, it's probably a medium-sized, maybe, let's say a Modesto-sized city, perhaps. Let's just put it that way. Let me check. Yeah, it's basically in the middle of it's basically located in between Cedar Falls and Evansdale. So it's like right in the middle. And its population, I guess, is 68,000, and that's not bad. 68,000 population. Yeah, but I'm looking here. I'm trying to make sure and everything. But yeah, the 68,000, it's got pretty much a lot of nice things. So, like I say, a Modesto size city. That's what I'm looking at, a Modesto size city. Because this is 68,000. 68,406 compared to Modesto, where the population is 201,000. Well, let's just say it's a Modesto-sized city. Maybe on average, perhaps, let's say in between a Patterson-sized city, like Patterson. This is Patterson, California, and our population, as of right now, according to Wikipedia, is 20,413. And let's see where I used to live. So yeah, basically it's between Lawrence, according to this, Lawrence, Kansas, is total population as of last year, 88,727. So yeah, I can understand Jeff's anger here, because you got a city in Waterloo that's kind of like in between. It's kind of like is basically about 48 people more. It has 48,000 people more. Homes 48,000 people more, and it's 28 people thousand. It's 28 people whose population is 48,000 more than Patterson, and is 28,000 less than Lawrence, Kansas. So I can understand his frustration when you have a city that, like I said, is in between the sizes of Patterson and Modesto, and let's just say Turlock, Patterson, and Modesto. I mean, Turlock, Patterson, California, and in Lawrence, Kansas. I can understand when you have a town like that that's kind of like a metro rural area. Metro rural. In other words, it's got a downtown and everything. Basically, kind of like a community college area. Let's put it that way. Community college town. I get that. I understand the frustration people would have. You know, I understand the frustration. You know, I lived in Lawrence, Kansas, and any time we had professional wrestling come there, because we were home at one time to Central States Wrestling for the NWA, I would go and watch it. And any time it was announced that someone like AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Abyss, Samoa Joe would show up and perform, people would sell out tickets at times, and most of the time those advertised would show up. And again, this is in a college town that has basically about 20,000 people more, or 12,000 people more than Waterloo. Its population is 12,000 people more. So again, I can understand Schleg Daddy's anger when you have someone like Kurt Angle, who was advertised 9 months before of being not only inducted into the Hall of Fame, but also advertised for being there. I can understand the anger when all of a sudden he just backs out without saying anything himself. And especially when you have someone like JR, Jim Ross, JBL, Animal, Bill Apter, and the list could go on and on of people that showed up there, of the names that showed up there, willing to show up. Even, you know, people like Colt Cabana, and such, you know, willing to show up and be a part of that. I mean, Colt Cabana showed up in Lawrence, Kansas, so I understand how. So for him to show up in an area like that, I kind of get what they're saying. I kind of get where Schleg Daddy's anger comes from. You know, I get it. And again, like I said, the best way for Kurt Angle to make up for this is to do exactly like Schleg Daddy said. Come back next year, help promote for 2 days, be there for the 2-day weekend, help promote the Hall of Fame, help make money for it, and even if you have to, get permission from TNA and wrestle in an Impact Pro Wrestling show, you know, to help out, to make up for what you did. And if that's not enough, you know, do more. Do more for that do more for the Hall of Fame. You know, do a presentation. You know, contribute as much as you can to make up for not being there this year. Now, like I said, the way I look at it, and I'm not sure if Schleg Daddy would have agreed to this, but like I said earlier, I would have felt that even a video message from Kurt would have been more acceptable than him not showing up and backing out at the last minute. A video message from him saying, holding up his plaque saying, I appreciate this award, you know, blah, 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 thanking people for inducting him, would have been great. That would have been more acceptable than him not showing, and you have someone pissed off like Schleg Daddy and anybody else there that he felt were disrespected by this. So, all I could say is hopefully Kurt will make up for it in the future, because believe you me, if Patterson, California had a Wrestling Hall of Fame, if we had one, and we advertised someone like Kurt Angle to be here and he didn't show up, yeah, I'd be mad too. I would be upset too, but I would find a way to have him make up for it. I would try to call him and say, hey, can you show up next year for our Hall of Fame and make up for not being here this year? That's what I would do. And I do give Schleg Daddy credit for being, you know, for being humble in what he says. In saying that, you know, the Dan Gable Lou Thesz Wrestling Hall of Fame has more class than he does. Because I honestly, what I heard was coming from here. And he basically just said what he felt. And if he felt like, hey, I want to take his plaque and flush it down the toilet or burn it or whatever, so be it. But that's not the Dan Gable Museum. Which, again, I give him credit for showing respect towards and being humble towards and saying they have more respect for this profession and for people like, say, a Kurt Angle than he does. So, but this is just my response to Jeff's video, and if you guys got any responses of your own, let me know down below. Comment if you like, if you like. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my response to Jeff? Do you agree with what Jeff said? I'm pretty sure a lot of you do. So let me know down below. Comment if you like. Video responses are welcome. And I'll talk to y'all later.